So what is the total probability density?
1.
1.
1. Okay. So accordingly, like your Newton's laws of motion or Newton's second law is very popular in classical mechanics part. Similarly, the Schrodinger equations are very famous, very popular in quantum physics. Okay, the equation that describe the wave nature of the particle in mathematical form is known as Schrodinger equation. Okay, so Schrodinger equation are of two types. One is time dependent and another one is your time independent. Okay, so time dependent, first this is time dependent Schrodinger equation, SCHRODINGER, time dependent Schrodinger equation. So I am going to derive this time dependent Schrodinger equation, TDSE. Okay, time dependent Schrodinger equation. Okay, is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so right, consider a particle of mass m. Consider a particle of mass m moving with a velocity v along x-axis. Any particle, okay, consider a particle of mass m. This is the particle mass m moving with a velocity v along positive x-axis. Okay, so what will be the wave function? The wave function, are you writing?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
The wave function of the particle, the wave function of the particle is, look here, we can define the wave function of every particle. So here the wave function will be, the symbol is psi. Since the particle is moving x-axis, we can write x and t is there, because the wave function is a function of x and t. What is the right hand side? A with the amplitude, exponential, I for imaginary number, kx minus omega t, k with the wave propagation vector. Okay, समझ में आया? I have written the general
Yes, sir.
form, a e to the power I k dot r minus omega t. Since r is a position vector having x, y, z, so we have taken the particle is x-axis. I have written here x. So this implies del psi by del x. This is partial derivative with respect to x. So what will be the answer? Del psi
T,
by
sir.
del x.
T.
If you take a e to the power I kx minus omega t into ik, बना नहीं, partial derivative with respect to x,
Yes, sir.
e to the power I, e to the power I k, e to the power I k x derivative कितना होगा?
I
कौन
K
से?
e to the power I.
I k into e to the power I k x.
Yes, sir.
ହେଲା, ତେଣୁ ଏଠି କ'ଣ ଅଛି ନା, with respect to x means a is constant, e to the power I k x minus I omega t. Then with respect to x means I k. Okay. Again you take the derivative. This is equation 1. Let you find del square psi by del s square. Second order derivative. Keta bako. Ki koibo? What is the second order derivative? अरे कौन कौन बसुचे चुपचाप मुझे जानी पारनी. Again you take another time derivative. Minus I omega.
सर ए टू द पावर
A I K
ए ई टू द
हाँ अच्छा क्या लिखो a e to the power I kx minus
omega t
into I k into I k.
into I K square, sir.
So I square minus k square. Okay, k square a e to the power I kx minus omega t. अरे बुझी होच ना नहीं?
Yes, sir.
This is minus k square psi xt. So this value is nothing your equation 1. So del square psi by del s square is equal to minus k square psi xt. So this implies psi xt is equal to minus 1 by k square del square psi by del s square. So from this equation psi xt is equal to, it is multiplied, then this is minus 1 by k square del square psi by del s square. Let this is equation number 2. Okay, right. Taking partial derivative with respect to t, taking partial derivative of equation 1 with respect to t. के कहबा परिचय? Taking partial derivative of equation 1 with respect to t. जल्दी बताओ कौन लिखिबी? अरे कहो.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
A e the power I K x minus
Del
omega
psi
t.
by del t is equal to a
e the
e
power
to the
I
power I
K x minus omega t
x minus omega t
into IT.
into minus I omega. कौन IT?
I omega.
Sorry, sir. I
अरे
omega.
देखो माइनस अच्छी
Yes, sir.
है और
Yes, sir.
this is equal to then derivative भी करी पारना और कौन करीबा? Minus I omega. This is nothing your psi xt. Minus I omega psi xt. So now this is equation number 3. So write multiplying IH cross this is IH cross on both sides of equation 3. प्रज्ञा
Yes, sir.
कौन लिखुच ना नहीं चुपचाप बसछ?
Sir, लिखुचे.
sir.
Okay, so if you multiply IH cross on both sides of equation 3, so what will happen? के कहबो? So here I have to multiply IH cross. That means IH cross del psi by del t.
Psi by del t.
So here I have to multiply IH cross. I want to write IH cross I square. I square is equal to minus 1. Minus 1. Minus plus H cross omega psi xt. So directly I have written multiplying IH cross. This is equal to H cross omega psi xt. Okay. So this H cross omega is known as E psi xt. This is E psi xt. Okay. This is equation number 4. केम देला के कहबो? IT is equal
H cross omega.
cross
H cross
H
omega.
cross omega.
cross omega.
ए साइड रे लेख केमती हैला हम कर दोची हमें जानिछे व्हाट इज द एनर्जी ऑफ द फोटोन
H nu.
h nu यू मल्टीप्लाई 2 पाई ऊपर गोटे 2 पाई मल्टीप्लाई करो गोटे 2 पाई डिवाइड करो हैला ए जो h by 2 पाई आर वैल्यूटा कोन असला h क्रॉस
Cross.
H cross
2 पाई इनटू न्यू केता हबो 2 पाई इनटू न्यू ओमेगा
Omega.
हैला so E is equal to h cross omega.
yes sir.
So this is equation number 4. Okay. So next write putting the value of psi xt putting the value of psi xt from equation 2 in equation 4 कौन होला को putting the value of psi xt from equation 2 in equation 4 हमें कौन पाइले putting the value of psi xt from equation 2
k square
Sir, minus 1 by k square.
upon
again first you tell me this is the left hand side I h cross del psi by del t is equal to
e
एटी केते अछि e हां सौम्य केते लिखिबे
square
minus 1 by k square
By k square del square psi by del x square.
s square
del square psi by del s square. Okay. Okay.
Yes sir.
Yes sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now 1 minute. Okay. So now we have to solve it. Okay. E. Okay. Now, so you write this is h cross square k square by 2m into minus 1 by k square del square psi by del s square. K square gone. This is equal to minus h cross square by 2m del square psi by del s square. Okay. So this implies I h cross del psi by del t is equal to minus h cross square by 2m del square psi by del s square. So this equation is known as equation 5 is known as time dependent Schrodinger equation of a particle moving along x axis. हमको मिल गया कहां पे डाउट है पूछो मुझे ना कुछ डाउट नहीं
No, sir.
No sir.
okay okay so now I have one doubt so on the previous page I have written look here on the previous page we have e into minus 1 by k square but here I have written h cross square k square by 2n into minus 1 by k square del square psi by del s square. So from where it comes? Tell me, Pragya. From where it comes? Who can give the answer? Soumya?
Yes.
Ground state energy of linear harmonic oscillator.
Ground state energy? It is the coin ground state energy. Ground state energy is E0 is equal to h cross omega by 2. So this is how how it comes h cross square into k square by 2m? How? Rutraj? Rutraj Lanka?
Yes, sir.
कौन माने माने क्लास खाली जॉइन ना को जॉइन करछो नहीं किछि के कहबो प्रज्ञा
Yes, sir.
काई मिछर कहले जे नाही सर किछि डाउट नहीं एटा कोट आछि के कहबो परिचय पाठ पढ़िवार इच्छा नहीं काई बेकार खाली गोटे तो काइनेटिक अच्छा द एनर्जी we know kinetic energy is equal to p square by 2m ठीक ना नहीं
Yes, sir.
this is the kinetic energy
sir.
okay p for momentum okay okay from de Broglie hypothesis p is equal to h by lambda lambda is equal to h by p is equal to h by lambda again you multiply 2 pi divide 2 pi so again h by 2 pi h by h cross
H cross.
Cross.
2 pi by lambda is equal to k
K.
wave propagation vector now we got p is equal to h cross into k so now you put here p square will be h cross square k square by 2m hello na nahi
Yes, sir.
So we got energy is equal to h cross into omega energy is also h cross square into k square by 2m okay so this equation 5 represents I h cross del psi by del t is equal to minus h cross square by 2m del square psi by del s square so this is the particle moving along x axis if the particle is moving along y axis what will be answer what will be your answer Lalatendu if the particle is moving along y axis Rabi Teja Hasan Raja Vikas
Yes, sir.
so if the particle is moving along y axis what will be your equation
So I h cross d psi by dt equals to minus h cross by 2m del square psi by del y square.
very good a big clap for you so this is I h cross del psi by del t is equal to minus h cross square by 2m del square psi by del y square okay if the particle is moving along y axis look here the left hand side remain constant I h cross so it is time it depends upon time constant so only variable was x so for y it will be y square okay similarly if the particle is moving along z axis if the particle is moving along z axis Suryamai are you there Suryamai you are sitting silently batao if the particle is moving along z axis what will be the equation
I h cross del psi by del t equal to minus h cross square by 2m del square psi by del z square.
very good so for you a big clap okay
Sir,
so
side.
minus
Sir, psi,
okay,
psi,
minus
psi.
Sir, side छाड़ दीजिए. Side
हाँ,
छाड़
del
दीजिए.
del
Psi.
square psi by del z square okay
Yes, sir.
acha suppose now you write time dependent Schrodinger equation in short TDSE time dependent Schrodinger equation of a particle moving with a potential potential means potential energy, potential V. Let that potential is V along x-axis. Along x-axis. Hassan Raja, are you there? Hassan Raja? Right. Taufik? Abhinandan? So who can say the time dependent Schrodinger equation of a particle moving with a potential V along x-axis? The equation will be I h cross del psi by del t is equal to minus h cross square by 2m del square psi
by
by
del
del
x
s square. Since the particle is potential, only we have to add V. Okay? Plus V
Okay.
psi. Okay? This is equation number 6. I h cross del psi by del t is equal to minus h cross square by 2m del square psi by del y square plus V psi. Now suppose the particle is moving along 3 dimensions. And for y-axis, y square, z-axis, z square. So if the particle is moving along 3 dimensions, the particle is moving along 3 dimensions, then what will be the equation? The equation will be I h cross del psi by del t is equal to minus h cross square by 2m del square psi plus V psi. This is equation number 7. If the particle is moving along 3 dimensions, the left hand side remains same. This is minus h cross square by 2m into del square psi. What is this del square psi? Pragya? What is this del square? Pragya?
Yes, sir.
What is this del square? तो थोड़े के सुबह नहीं किए तुम उनको 3 4 4 डाके ऊपर से कौन? What is that del square? Who can give the answer?
Sir,
Del square
gradient
by
of
del x square.
Samya?
Sir, gradient of psi.
ତମେ ପାଠ ସବୁ ସତ୍ୟ କଥା ମୁଁ କହୁଛି ତମ ଦ୍ୱାରା ପାଠ ପଢି ନ ମାନେ ଏଟା ଛାଡି ଦିଅ ପାଠ ସବୁ ହେଲା ମତେ ମାନେ ଗୋଟେ ଅଫଲାଇନ ରେ ମୁଁ ପଢେଇଲି ଅନଲାଇନ ରେ ମୁଁ ବିଟ୍ ବାଇ ବିଟ୍ ଗୋଟେ ହାତରେ ମୋବାଇଲ ଧରିକି ଲେଖୁଛି ମୁଁ ଜାଣିପାରୁନି ଅଲଗା ଟିଚରଙ୍କ ଭଳିଆ ପାୱାର ପଏଣ୍ଟ ପ୍ରେଜେଣ୍ଟେସନ ଦେଖେଇଦେଲେ ହୁଏତ ତମେ ବୋଧେ ଭଲ ବୁଝିବ বা নোট সেয়ার କରିଦେଲେ ଆଡଭାନ୍ସ ସବୁ ବୁଝି ପକେଇବ ହେଲା ବିଟ୍ ବାଇ ବିଟ୍ କରିକି ଯଦି ତମେ ଏତେ ଇଏ ହଉଛ ମୁଁ କେତେ ଥର କହିଛି କି ମାନେ ଗୋଟିଏ ପିଲା କହିଲେ ଆନ୍ସର ଦିଅନ୍ତ ସହଜରେ ତ ଆଟେଣ୍ଡାନ୍ସ ତମର କମ ପିଲା ଜଏନ କରୁନା ଯେତିକି ପିଲା ବି ଜଏନ କରୁଛ ସେ ପୁଣି ଅଲଗା କାମରେ ବିଜି ଏଣେ ଖାଲି କ୍ଲାସକୁ ଆମେ କ୍ଲାସ लिंक ऊपर क्लिक करदबा तापर क्लास पेपर हो कि जा हो तो सही हिसाब रे असाइनमेंट मार्क देबी तुमको व्यस्त होनी क्विज सरप्राइज सब से वाला मार्क पाइबो
सर लाप्लासियन ऑपरेटर
कौन कौन देता को
लाप्लासियन ऑपरेटर
कौन ना कौन तोर
सूर्यमय
साहब तो जो प्रज्ञा पैकेज से आगे बस्तुल तो
आज्ञा सर
हाँ सर
हाँ सर तमे सब बस चुपचाप बस बेसी ठंडा होची चुपचाप ହେଇକି बस सब ए डेल स्क्वायर टा को कहंती लाप्लासियन ऑपरेटर दिस इज लाप्लासियन एटा इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिज्म तुम पढ़े नथिले लाप्लासियन ऑपरेटर तार वैल्यू होची del square by del s square plus del square by del y square plus del square by del z square जेहेतु एठी s square अछि y तापर y axis पे y square z axis पे z square आमे एते न लिखि कि गोटिए लिखि दबा del square से del square रे सब अछि x अछि y अछि z अछि हला एटा शॉर्ट क्वेश्चन मन रखियो सब
Yes, sir.
derivation आसी पारे बा शॉर्ट क्वेश्चन I h cross del psi by del t is equal to minus h cross square by 2m del square psi by del s square plus v psi. Okay, this is equation number 7. So we derived time dependent Schrodinger equation. So next is time independent, the wave function having time factor. So now give the heading as अरे कार को ये माइक ऑफ करो टिके टाइम इंडिपेंडेंट सुब्रांशु टाइम
Yes, sir.
तो काई एबे जॉइन करछु क्लास करिया को नेट दरकार रोहन दास एबे कोन टाइम तुमको हेछि 10:45 रे कोआइ जॉइन करिया पे
Sir, mo fully network program le ebe left karioli.
हां टाइम इंडिपेंडेंट स्क्रोडिंजर इक्वेशन एटा को लिखिबा TISE time independent Schrodinger equation. Okay, so from time dependent Schrodinger equation we have to able to find time independent Schrodinger equation. Okay, so now we can take the help of equation number 4. What is the equation number 4? Subhranshu Koilu, what is the equation number 4? What is the equation number 4? Huh?
E psi st.
E psi xt.
Huh?
E psi xt sir.
इक्वेशन नंबर 4 लिखा है तुमको जाना पड़ी कौन हम जाने पर नहीं रेडी
I h cross del psi by del t equals to E psi xt.
equal to
ई से कौन कहउछ रे ई से हां पुराना नोट रे अछि बोली देखि कहछ तो सब ना कोन इक्वेशन 4 ता तमे लेफ्ट हैंड साइड ता की कहबो लेफ्ट हैंड साइड लिखा है I h cross del psi by del t is equal to E psi by E psi xt. Okay. So this implies E psi मैं आगे राइट हैंड साइड लिखिली E psi is equal to I h cross del psi by del t. This is equation number 8. Hala like putting the value of I h cross putting the value of I h cross del psi by del t from equation 7 in equation 8. Putting the value of I h cross del psi by del t from equation 6 in equation 8 कौन हबो we get E psi is equal to minus h cross square by 2m del square
psi by del s square.
del s square हां तापर कोन हबो क
plus v psi खाली ए जगह रे मु ए वैल्यू टा पुट कर देली I h cross del psi by del t is equal to this. ठीक अछि एबे ताको रीअरेंज करिबा एटा माइनस अछि लेफ्ट को नै आसीबा प्लस h cross square by 2m del square psi by del s square plus एटा e अछि v टा एकड़ को नै आसले माइनस v psi is equal to 0.
कौन के लिखुच ना नहीं कौन के तो किसी गोटे सोर्स ऑफ
सर
नहीं
यस सर
ना ये जो पुराना नोट रखी की सेठी धर की बसछ
नो
नो
सर
सर लिखुछु
आ जदी लिखुच मु लिखुची मो पूरा ये करके पूरा अपडेट कर लिख दे लिखि परछो कि तो कहूना
sir.
कौन हला हां so h cross square by 2m del square psi by del s square Rajeshwari Das Rajeshwari plus e minus v psi is equal to 0 okay so now a equation रे we have to
ठीक है राइट
multiply
साइड को
हां एबे बाहला राइट साइड को
यस सर
हाँ ये जो इक्वेशन रे एबे हमें कौन करिबा 2m by h cross square multiply करिबी केता हवा का प्रज्ञा थ्रू आउट द इक्वेशन रे मु मल्टीप्लाई करिबी 2m by h cross square केता हवा का
सेटा को इक्वेशन 9 दो
किछि 9 देबा दरकार नहीं डायरेक्टली लिख मु 2m by h cross square multiply करिबी से इक्वेशन में केते लिखिबे वो तल 2m by h cross square टा कटि गला
del square psi by del s square
हां केते इक्वेशन नंबर जाई छी
सेटा 9
question number 9
9 sir.
so this equation is known as Schrödinger equation it लिखि दियो time independent Schrödinger equation of a particle moving along co-axis रे
x axis
x axis रे similarly जदि particle टा y axis रे जाउथबा y square हे जिवो particle is moving along z axis z हे जिवो
z square जो
अच्छा जदि particle टा 3 dimension में जाउची केता हबो प्रज्ञा if the particle is moving along 3 dimension केते लिखिबी क प्रज्ञा
minus
सर सर del
Del
square
square
psi
psi.
plus
del s
2m h cross square e minus v psi equals to 0
ये सब होची तमरो ये जो बिना मार्क रे सब रिजल्ट पाइला तो बिना एग्जाम रे तार इफेक्ट हला घरे बसिलो मोबाइल रे बसी की बिजी रहिलो तम स्कूल कॉलेज रो सर माने भलो मार्क दे देले डेरिवेटिव करि परना किछि अटेंटिव नाही एटा तो मु बारंबार कहिली जदी 3 डायमेंशन नबा एटा डायरेक्ट हे जिवो डेल स्क्वायर साइ प्लस ये जहा अछि से रहइबो 2m by h cross square into e minus v psi is equal to 0 हला this is equation number 10 ओडिसा तो रेसिडेंशियल कॉलेज प्राइवेट कॉलेज अछि और कोन तुमको मार्क दबार असुविधा कोन अछि सर माने को जते ये करबो सेते भलो मार्क पाइबो प्रैक्टिकल 30 to 30 so del square psi plus 2m by h cross square e minus hello
yes
Yes,
sir
sir.
yes sir
so we have देखो टाइम इंडिपेंडेंट कोठ भी टी फैक्टर नहीं देयर इज नो टी फैक्टर सो इट इज टाइम इंडिपेंडेंट ओके
Yes
so
sir.
we have to take the help of this time independent Schrödinger equation in our second unit of this module while finding the application part okay so this is the question next write operator formalism operator formalism so operator formalism means o for operator put a cap so that is known as operator okay so operator means suppose we have a function this is an old function
ध्यान से सुनो. From the old function, we can get a new function. By which? By operator. That means if you use the operator, we can get the new function from the old function. So that is known as operator. So operator may be addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Okay. So right. So it is a mathematical tool. Right. The mathematical tool used for obtaining the new function. The mathematical tool used for obtaining new function the mathematical tool used for obtaining new function from a given function okay
Yes, sir.
कौन लिख लो पढ़ लो
Sir, from a given.
The mathematical tool used for obtaining new function from a given function are called operator.
are called operator. ता पर पे लिखा O cap fx is equal to gx. O cap fx is equal to gx. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Suppose I have sin x. I shall get cos x. What is the operator here?
The derivative.
D by dx. Derivative means d by dx. Okay. So that means so लिखिला O cap fx is equal to gx. So O cap is operator. Fx is our old function and gx is our new function. So operator may be addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, derivative, and integration. So one example, if you take, I have the function is sin x, is d by dx. Okay, so here operator means O cap. Okay, बुझिएगा? अरे बुझी पालो?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so एबे गोटे टेबल एटी शॉर्ट क्वेश्चन खाली गोटे टेबल करिबा एकड़े लेख फिजिकल क्वांटिटी राइट साइड लेख कॉरेस्पोंडिंग ऑपरेटर So number 1, Cartesian coordinate. Cartesian coordinate system. Do you know Cartesian coordinate system? So we are हम जो व्यवहार करते हैं x y z ताको अंति Cartesian coordinate system. x y z. Okay, Cartesian coordinate.
Yes,
बुझे
sir.
होची? हमें खाली कौन
Yes,
करिया? ताके गोटे हेड रे गोटे कैप लगे देबा. सेटा इज ऑपरेटर. बुझे होची? So
Yes,
x cap. So x cap means this is operator, but its value is same x. If you take y cap, its value is y. Z cap, its value is z. Okay. Next, number 2. Linear momentum.
What is the linear momentum symbol?
P.
P, sir.
Linear momentum. If I can take the momentum along x-axis, what will be its corresponding operator? कौन लिखी आगे कैप दे दी px cap.
Sir.
এটা মনে রাখো this value is equal to minus IH cross del by del x खाली x नुहे सब कौन x হবে কি এটা important. What is the operator formalism of linear momentum? Minus IH cross del by del x. बुझला?
Yes, sir.
बुझला
कौन लिखी थी minus IH cross del by del x. Similarly, जल्दी था py minus IH cross del by del y, pz minus IH cross del by del z. Dimension. This is along any coordinate in p. Its operator formalism will be p cap, which is equal to minus IH cross del. Minus IH cross del operator. This is del operator or nabla operator. Okay. Next,
Yes.
number 3, energy. Energy means E. So what will be its operator? E cap. Its value is equal to IH cross del by del t. এটা মনে রাখো পরীক্ষায় আসে. Write the operator formalism of energy. Your answer will be IH cross del by del t. What is the operator formalism of momentum?
H cross del by del x.
Very good. Okay. So now, suppose kinetic energy. You have to find the kinetic energy. This is the total energy. If you find the kinetic energy, so kinetic energy means EK for kinetic energy. So its operator will be EK cap. Its value is equal to minus H cross square by 2m del square by del S square. So remember, the left hand side of the time dependent Schrodinger equation is your kinetic energy. Minus H cross square by 2m del square by del S square. Next, the last one, Hamiltonian. Hamiltonian. If you take Hamiltonian, the symbol is H. H for Hamiltonian. Its operator will be H cap. The value is equal to minus H cross square by 2m del square by del S square plus V psi. Okay. Minus H cross square by 2m del square psi by del S square plus V psi. The right hand side of equation 6, that is your time dependent Schrodinger equation, is known as your Hamiltonian. Okay. So this part is your kinetic energy. This part is your potential energy. So Hamiltonian is nothing, the sum of potential energy and kinetic energy. Okay, सबको?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Everybody, you have written?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So next write Eigenvalue equation. Eigenvalue equation. So eigenvalue equation is nothing. You see, suppose we have, it is known as your wave function, it is your operator. So this equation is known as eigenfunction. Psi x is known as eigenfunction. Lambda is known as eigenvalue. Lambda is known as eigenvalue. That means if operator is multiplied with a eigenfunction, you see the eigenfunction is nothing new. Same wave function is just termed as eigenfunction. Okay. So if operator is multiplied with a wave function, we can get a constant value. That constant value is known as eigenvalue. Okay. Eigenvalue with the same function. Okay. So, okay, tell me, suppose I am asking you, if operator is d by dx, eigenfunction is e to the power 6x. What is your eigenvalue?
Again.
Operator is d by dx. Okay. Operator is d by dx. Eigenfunction is e to the power 6x. What is your eigenvalue?
6x e to the power 6x.
I am asking what is your eigenvalue?
Lambda 6x into 2 by 6x.
What is the value of lambda? Lambda is not
6x. 6x.
6.
No.
6, sir.
6.
6.
E to the 6.
E to the power
6x by
कितना हुआ? तो भाभी को
1.
हाँ? किसी बुझना खाली
So 6 e to the power 6x.
हाँ?
6x.
6x. So only 6.
Only 6. Yes. Who told the answer? Who told the answer? So,
Sujit.
yes, okay, very good. So, your operator d by dx, eigenfunction is e to the power 6x. If you do d by dx, answer is equal to 6 into e to the power 6x. Now you compare our equation. Operator psi x lambda into psi x. So operator is d by dx. Psi x is equal to e to the power 6x. Psi x is equal to e to the power 6x. So what is the value of lambda? Lambda is
only
equal to
6.
So this type of question, carefully you have to give the answer. Find the eigenvalue. That means for getting the eigenvalue, we need operator and both side function remains same. Suppose it is sin x, it is cos x. No, it will be wrong. It will be sin x means it must be sin x. Then only we can get the eigenvalue. Okay, समझ में आया?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So eigenvalue are of two types. One is degenerate and another one is your non-degenerate. Right? Degenerate. Degenerate eigenvalue. Eigenvalue lambda are of two types. One is degenerate, another one is your non-degenerate. So right, for each eigenfunction corresponds to same eigenvalue.
Sir, out ready.
For each eigenfunction corresponds to same eigenvalue. For each eigenfunction corresponds to same eigenvalue. For each eigenfunction corresponds to same eigenvalue is called a degenerate eigenvalue. Okay? Degenerate eigenvalue. Okay?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
So that means for each eigenfunction corresponds to same eigenvalue.
So there will be no change in the eigenvalue. Okay, there will be no change in the eigenvalue. That means if you change the eigenfunction, different eigenfunction, but eigenvalue remains same, then that is known as your degenerate. Otherwise, if there will be different, different eigenvalue, that is known as non-degenerate. That is known as non-degenerate eigenvalue. Okay.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So anybody, you take the screenshot. You take the screenshot and you share me. Nella, okay.
Sir, आज evening 7 o'clock रे quiz test हबो?
हम तुमको जणेबी ना.
Yes sir.
टिके रुह. हाँ. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. So I shall give the information. So if you are comfortable at evening time, okay. So we shall conduct at that time. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yes sir.
So you have taken the screenshot.
Yes.
Sir?
Yes, sir. Send कर दिया ग्रुप में.
मुझे अच्छा मतलब कितना स्टूडेंट आज स्टूडेंट है
48.
ओके 1 minute you are online ना एक मिनट रुको
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.